Hello everybody, welcome to a special edition of Chef Sherry's Plant-Based Kitchen. As you can tell, I'm not Sherry and I'm certainly no chef, but I do subscribe to a whole food plant-based diet. Now, I'm usually behind the camera, which is where I think I ought to be. I think Sherry's best positioned in front of it and I'm best positioned behind it. However, Sherry has been asking me for some time to demo my famous homemade almond milk. We use almond milk every morning in our oatmeal to make our oatmeal, and it really makes it for a very nice breakfast. So our almond milk can be made with as few as 2 ingredients, but as you'll see, we actually use 4, and I'll explain why. So to start with, I take 1.5 cups of almonds, which I soak overnight, and add that to a Vitamix or other high power blender you can use if you don't have a Vitamix, into which I've added 6 cups of water. Now, this recipe takes 7 cups, but the Vitamix will only accommodate 6. So the 7th cup of water is placed in this bowl, which we'll be using later. So, as I said, you add the almonds to the Vitamix, and you could make it just like that, but what we do to add a little sweetness in a very healthy way to our oatmeal is we add a splash of vanilla, which I'm going to add right now, and 6 pitted dates. Dates are a natural food and is a nice way of adding a little sweetness to your oatmeal. So here are the 6 pitted dates, and that's all there is to it. And the next step, you simply turn on the blender. What I do is I start on the low speed, and gradually move the dial.
You want to put your lid on a little tighter?
Yeah. With the lid on and use the low speed, but turn the dial so it gradually increases the speed, but at the low speed. Now, just one general comment is the more you mix this, the easier it will be to drain the almond milk, which we'll do in a moment. So I'm going to start this. It's a little noisy, so bear with me. And I'm gradually increasing the speed. Now I'm going to turn the dial down to the bottom speed and then increase it to higher power. The longer you do this, the easier it will be to drain. We'll show in a minute. Okay, so that takes care of that. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a nut bag and place it in the bowl in which I've already added that 7th cup of water that I was talking about. And we're going to pour the contents into the bag to separate the pulp from the milk. So in it goes, and you have to be a little patient, but I sort of analogize this to milking a cow, which I think is an apt analogy since we're talking about milk. So just gently squeeze it. You have to be a little patient. You don't want to squeeze the bag too hard because otherwise you'll splatter the milk. So while I'm doing this, I just want to talk a little bit about my journey. You've heard a lot about Sherry's journey following her near-fatal heart attack. I became vegan when Sherry became vegan. It really was a very easy choice for me given what happened to Sherry. but I have one funny story to share with you. So a couple months after we started adopting a plant-based lifestyle, I was at work. I had been off work for some time following Sherry's heart attack, but I finally was able to return to work when Sherry was well on her way to recovery. And I was talking to a colleague in a hallway, and various people were passing by. And I told this individual that I had adopted a plant-based lifestyle, and he was asking me all sorts of questions. And at one point, he turned to me and he said, "I bet you cheat when your wife's out of town." And at that point, as you can imagine, you could hear a pin drop. And I had to explain to people that we were talking about plant-based lifestyle and nothing else. So I thought that was pretty funny. But anyway, I'm very fortunate in the sense that, I don't cook, but Sherry is a marvelous cook, and I am the beneficiary of that. And since I don't cook, I do the cleanup in our house. I do the dishes every night, and that's sort of the bargain that we struck. So as Sherry, I think, has told you in the past, when we first started out on this journey, Sherry tried various recipes, and I often talk about our kitchen becoming a laboratory in the sense that there were some dishes she made that I thought were great and were definite keepers, and others that I asked her never to make again. So, as with anybody adopting a plant-based lifestyle, you should find out the things that you like. Hopefully you can make them in a relatively easy way. And the things that you don't like, there's so much to choose from that I think anybody on a plant-based diet can find enough dishes that they like to be able to sustain that lifestyle. So,
How's the milking going?
Milk is, it's slow.
I'm going to come in and show what you're doing
All
with
right.
your hands.
So I'm just squeezing it.
I see it's going into the bowl there nicely. Oh,
Yeah.
It looks like milk.
Yep, it sure does.
It's got the right color to it.
And it's completely healthy. There's no additives. It's all natural food. And as I said, by adding the dates and the vanilla, it adds a little sweetness in a very healthy way to your oatmeal.
What else do we put in our oatmeal, Dale?
We put blueberries every morning. We put some turmeric, flaxseed, and a dash of cinnamon, and pepper. Those are the 4 ingredients we add.
And what goes on top of the oatmeal?
Blueberries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how do you buy your blueberries to make it economical?
I buy mine at Costco. I buy several bags at a time, and I freeze them, and I just defrost them in the microwave. I know, when you do this enough times, you know exactly how long to keep them in the microwave to defrost them, so you don't over.
So how long is that?
Well, for me, it's 2 minutes when I have 2, what are they, ramekins? Ramekins of blueberries, and they're fine. So we have a very healthy breakfast every morning, and
Looks like you're getting to the bottom of the bag there.
Getting there. And Sherry, you want to talk a little bit about the pulp that is left in the bag?
Yeah, so you're going to see the pulp that's left, and so you don't have to throw it away. I Googled the other day what to do with pulp when you're making almond meal. There's a ton of things to do. You can make almond flour, you can use it for baking, so you don't have to throw it out. And I think you can freeze it so it stays nice and fresh and just defrost it when you need it. So just Google what to do with pulp after you've made almond milk, and you'll get some great ideas.
Yeah. I also want to mention that this milk can be frozen. We've done that when we go out of town. A lot of times, we'll come back in the evening and we want to have milk the next day. So we really don't want to have to make it first thing in the morning. So I will have frozen it beforehand and taken it out and put it in the refrigerator. And the only thing you have to do is make sure that you shake it up a little bit, because it does tend to separate a little bit. But we've frozen it on many occasions. We've noticed no difference when we've used it. And that's something that I would encourage you to do, particularly if you're living by yourself and you want to make this in very large quantities. It makes sense to freeze it. to keep it fresh. So why don't I show you what this pulp looks like. If I can just put a little bit in my hand. So this is the pulp. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. And as Sherry mentioned,
put that aside for now.
Yep. I'm going to just rinse my hands.
You're doing a very good job in front of the camera, by the way.
Well, this is my
your debut.
My debut. I don't expect to see a lot of me in front of the camera. As
How about next week?
I don't think so. You'll have to talk to my agent. Anyway, here's the milk.
Look at how beautiful that is. It looks nice and, thick too.
Yeah.
Wow. Gorgeous.
And
I'm going to move
great.
this out of the way so I can see it more clearly. Ooh, beautiful. Well, thank you, honey, for doing this today.
And next time you'll be back to seeing Sherry in front of the camera.
We'll see about that. I might have to bring you in again quickly. But thanks for doing it, hon.
Sure thing. Take care.